Hello trader, this video will review the euro dollar which had a close and reverse, more on that later. We also will take a look at the major forex pairs like the pound, dollar yen and AUD USD. First of all, be aware though that this video is intended for a global audience and may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit this link, select your country of residence and contact an appropriate entity to find out more. Also, trading for exchange is considered high risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. And this video is for educational and informational purposes only. First one on the list is the pound dollar weekly chart. And if we zoom in, we can see engulfing bullish candlestick pattern, in fact. So that is a strong signal that this downtrend that has lasted very long could indeed be stalling or over for the moment. I'm not saying that the dollar uptrend here is totally out of the window, but for the moment we can see with these engulfing candlestick pattern that the downside is definitely in the fridge for the moment and has to wait for a temporary correction. These weekly candles basically are translated into these bullish daily candles, and we do see a bit of a wick on top of the last daily candle. So some correction on the daily chart because of that might occur, but I would expect a bounce back up due to the strong weekly candle. So if I put a fib on this upside on these weekly candles, anywhere on the 50 or the 61.8, I think could be a bouncing spot for further upside to, for instance, the minus 272 target at 151.80, which corresponds closely to this top as well. That of course is still a key level, 151.50, and if that breaks, then we have more space up to 153.50 and ultimately 155.50, which is again a bigger top. So all in all, I am at the moment, despite the downtrend, looking at the bullish price action, bullish on the pound dollar, but from lower areas here, and then bullish up to 151.50, and then above 151.50 again bullish up to 153.50 and 155.50, which of course could still be very important levels for a bearish turnaround for more downside, for instance at 155.50. Next one on the list is the euro dollar, but first of all, be aware of the special deposit bonus at Admiral Markets. Take a look at this link for more information on the conditions and details. Certainly worth your attention for 1 or 2 minutes to find out if that is something for you. It is valid for the remainder of April, so time is a bit running out. Take a look at that link for more information. Now, the euro dollar weekly chart, we mentioned the euro dollar at the beginning, the close and reverse. And what I meant with that is the fact that we had a bearish candle 2 weeks ago. That was a close, and now we reversed right back up. So the bearish signal, I had some doubts about that already. Indeed, not looking too strong at this point. And if we look at the downtrend, of course, very significant downtrend, but we know that in a trend at certain points there's going to be a consolidation, a bigger correction taking place, and I do think that looking at last week's price action, that correction could happen now. We're looking at the fourth or fifth week already that we haven't broken this bottom, basically at 104ish. So the chances of a bigger correction taking place are increasing, and if we put a fib like this, we can see that a correction up to the 23.6 fib, perhaps even the 38.2, are levels to think about how long a correction like that could last. Even if we put a fib like this, we see that there's plenty of space up to 117 or 112.50 for a correction. Zooming into the daily chart, we can see that there's a key top, of course, here that we have to be aware of. And certainly the euro dollar bounce not as aggressive as the pound dollar. Pound dollar bigger, basically bigger daily candles, but also the weekly showing engulfing, and the euro dollar doesn't show engulfing. So there is some difference between those pairs. That's because the euro pound is moving lower as well. So the pound at the moment looking a bit better than the euro, but the euro dollar I would also expect some upside. Eventually this corrective upside could get corrected again, and we could see a zigzag perhaps up to that 110.40 level. So all in all, euro dollar looks like it's going to correct up based on price action and a bit of wave analysis perhaps, but The pound at the moment looks stronger, so if I had to choose the cable, it would be my choice. But I certainly would not neglect the euro. It could also move up based on a pullback to the 50 or the 61.8. Obviously, if price action shows bearishness during the week, for instance, price moves lower, right, like this, and starts to make a bear flag like that, and then starts to break that bear flag, I wouldn't ignore shorts either. But at this moment, I would not be expecting that. Of course, the price action of this week could always change that analysis, and in that regard, I recommend the webinars we will have at Admiral Markets here tonight. Weekly FX recap with Nennet. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, live trading labs in the London morning, in fact. And then Wednesday and Thursday evening, we have manager space and expert opinion and using the 80-20 rule for Forex trading. Next one on the list is the odd USD. This is the daily chart. 2 weeks ago, I was speaking about this potential for a rising, or sorry, expanding wedge, I should say. And it seems to be indeed happening. It took a while. It took a double bottom or perhaps triple bottom before we got the upside. But the odd USD is moving up at the moment. And before it hits the wider top of this expanding wedge, it's still about 150 pips. 79.70 or 80 round level are the targets, are the resistance levels to think about on this odd USD. Also 80.25, which is this top right here. So for the moment, it's a choppy correction on the odd USD after a downtrend, but the pattern would show a bit more potential for upside. There's also been a pretty good momentum to the upside here, and the weekly candle, in fact, closing bullish and near the high. So if we look at the 4-hour chart, here too a pretty good momentum. I would be inclined to say, okay, let's put a fib on this upside, and a 61.8 could be an interesting buying level for that 80 target at the minus 61.8 and the top of the wedge. Last but not least, the dollar yen. Not too enthusiastic about this pair at the moment. Last week had bearish candles, in fact, engulfing the bullish candle of 2 weeks ago. But despite that, I do think that the zone here, the corrective zone, is a bit tight, is a bit small. We have support levels nearby, and although price could break through those, then pretty soon lower we bump into new support levels. So not much space basically for a correction to take place on the dollar yen, and that does seem the most likely. So I'm not too excited about taking either a long or short at this time. If we do break above this resistance line, I would be certainly a bit more interested in longing because of the potential for a bigger uptrend. That does not seem too likely at the moment. At this point, we are very close to the 118.25 support level. So if that level breaks, perhaps a bit of a space down to 116.80, and otherwise we're bumping right into bigger support levels. Ultimately, the dollar yen could correct lower if we put a fib from here to here, for instance. Then we could see the potential for the 38.2 fib at 115.50. But, you know, as I said, a lot of support levels. First of all, 118.25 to reckon with before shorts perhaps become a bit more interesting. Thank you for joining this video analysis. I hope to see you in the upcoming webinars of this week. And also, please take a look at this deposit bonus special right here through this link. Wish you all happy hunting and good trading. Cheers.